right, everybody, my next guest is a pretty amazing guy. He is the harmonica playing, spatula swinging, coolest chef you will ever meet, and his book, Eating Life, chronicles the many years he has spent as an entrepreneur, entertainer, and friend, not only to the legends in the world of music, film, and television, but to human beings from all walks of life. Here he is, the culinary rocker himself, Mr. Johnny Ciao. Yes, sir.
Hey, Donnie, what's happening, brother?
What's up, Johnny? How are you, my friend?
Well, you can see I'm happy.
Yes, indeed, man. This is so awesome to get a chance to talk to you, man. You've been around for a long time, and you've pretty much been there and done it all. Man, just incredible career, man. A lot of highlights, I imagine.
So I've always been like this guy who's had interest in people. I'm a people person. That's what my vibe is about. You know, most people don't realize Johnny Ciao, the chef thing is I throw it out the window. But we'll talk about that. But the thing is, I have always had this energy to talk to everyone and anyone in the world. That's what I love about life, is people.
How's the taste difference? Is there a hot one, a mild?
This is a hot,
And this is the mild?
and this is the sweet one.
I'm gonna have to take some of that home with me.
Oh, we got chicken, and chicken.
And can you smell those sounds coming from those cakes?
This sounds great. They smell amazing.
Trailers for sale, rooms to rent, 50 cents. Come on. No, you don't have to eat it.
Oh, she's got it all.
Like, hey, I'll be the volunteer tonight, baby. Let's go. Let's go. We're going on a fish and chip date. Okay, see you guys later.
See ya.
I'm able to somehow extract stuff from people. Some people, you know, they run away like, who's this guy? I'll see you later.
Wow, look at the hair. You have some great hair. Hello, Johnny Ciao from Los Angeles. How are you?
Nice to you.
What's your name?
Siobhan.
I love your hair. Can I just drown in it?
No.
Can we talk to you about life?
No, the thing is, I've always had this thing where I walk into a room, right, and people would all stare at me, like, who's this guy? And I was intimidated by that for years. I was like, why do people stare at me for? Why are they, you know, I mean.
Well, some people just have that it factor. When you walk into a room, people take notice. You stand out amongst the crowd, and you know, even in all of these different areas of things that you've done throughout your career, you always stood out. Even in the culinary field, you stand out. You're the harmonica playing guy. I think that is a huge thing. The it factor is something that everybody wants, but nobody can get it. You either have it or you don't. You know? And I think you definitely have that. You have that factor about you.
Come on, Eddie, sing with me.
Well, thank you, but I never looked for it. The thing is, what I see today with all these TikTokers and you know, Instagrammers, and everybody's trying to be a celebrity.
Yeah, times have definitely changed, like you said, from the time you came up and now to today, where you're getting kind of instant celebrity from TikTok or YouTube or what have you, and guys like you kind of worked your way up. And what I would like to do is just tell me, like, so how'd you get into managing? How'd you get big clients like the legendary Hank Aaron and guys like?
You know, this could take a while, but I'm going to try to speak as quick as I can, because I am writing my third book, and I have a lot of this in my brain right now about my life. And hopefully it'll be a Netflix series or one of them streaming networks. And not for fame either. It's just that what I want to do is, it's called Eating Life. And I want to show people what it takes to really enjoy your life and how to build some kind of energy that translates into something good down the road. Not because, you know, your dog jumped 30 feet high in the air and landed on your head on TikTok. I want to talk about, you know, how young people can really try to build their lives. It's not as easy as it was back then, because eating life is about being an entrepreneur in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's a little more difficult now in one sense. The other sense, because of COVID-19, there have been a lot of people who've been able to reinvent their lives and their businesses, and that's cool. I'm glad, I'm happy to see that.
Right.
But so what happened is when we moved up to this town in the Hudson Valley, all right, so here we are, and I'm like 12 years old, 13, 14. I'm fishing with Muddy Water. One of my friends owned one of the bars, his father owned. So I'm doing lights and sound at the age of 13 years old in one of the biggest nightclubs that was in Greenwood Lake, which is called TG's. And Muddy Waters was going to be there. So
Wow.
we went fishing with Muddy Waters and caught sunnies. You know what sunnies are?
Yeah, little sunfish.
Yeah, little small fish, right? So I catch about 20 sunnies, so we go back and Muddy Waters wants to grill them, so we're grilling sunnies. This is way before Johnny Ciao, believe
What?
me.
So you're 13 years old and you're like fishing with Muddy Waters.
That's right.
That's right there is incredible.
Yeah, nobody, not many people can. And I told Jerry Portnoy this story, who was Muddy's harmonica player for many years, who appeared with me at the House of Blues in Cambridge. He was getting a kick out of that story. But
Yes.
anyway,
Did Muddy take you? I'm just sorry, because I love Muddy Waters. He's an icon and legend and inspired so many. Do you remember the conversation you had with him, or that day you spent with him?
conversation. I had me and 3 other people on a boat. We were fishing, and I had a harmonica because I've been playing that thing since I'm 12 years old, right? So Muddy's there singing a tune on the boat, and I'm like, "Well, I'm going fishing with Muddy Water." So
Yes.
what do I know? I'm out there, you know, hanging out. There were many performers who came to Greenwood Lake. This was a famous place. Babe Ruth used to hang here.
Wow.
Babe Ruth. So, you know, it's kind of secluded. It's a great spot. There's a mountain range, and we got the Appalachian Trail right in the backyard. If I want to go up there and face copperheads, we got a lot of copperheads coming out of here. I eat snake, by the way, but I'm not about to catch a copperhead. So anyway, when I moved here, it was wild, you know, and everybody was together. It was the young hippie generation, and everyone was. It was a camaraderie that you don't see today with anyone. And 30, 40, 50 people, we'd go down to the beach, hang out at night. I don't really want to, you know, get into what went on. But
Hey, free love and all that good
sex,
stuff.
drugs, rock and roll, baby.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was always interested in showbiz. My father was a ballroom dancer in Europe. My dad was a great entertainer. And I just wanted to get in the biz. So I took a course in recording in a recording studio in Red Hook, New York, in a barn. And I hung out for a month and a half and learned the art of recording. Then I moved to Florida. I was 18. I took a buddy of mine and said, he drove his car, I drove my car, filled it with records and my stereo. That was it, and clothes. Nothing else mattered but music and my clothes, and that was it, and some food that my mother made for me before I left. Bingo, went to Florida, and I went to a broadcasting school, got a license, because in those days you needed an FCC license.
Right, yeah.
Not like today, you got a ton of kind of imbecilic morning personalities talking nothing that matters.
Well, it's called Dirty Dan the Garbage Man in the Morning Wood, and you gotta look out, it's mayhem!
You know, I do a lot of radio interviews around the world. I've done probably 300.
Right.
I've done tons of television shows. When I get on some of these radio shows in the morning, I get the main guy talking to this person, and they're talking about what they did last night instead of focusing on me. I'm the guest, right?
Right.
Oh, I heard you went out last night to a club.
Good morning to you, Johnny. Rock and roll chef, chef to the stars. You cook for Hank Aaron.
Well, I did more than that. I actually represented and managed Hank Aaron for 4 years.
I got to pick up where I left. So I went to Florida. I worked in, I went to a black radio station because I listened to black radio. I'm a soul freak. I'm a musicologist. I got a record collection that goes back to 1910. All right. I love music. So I go to this black radio station. And in those days, they were all independently owned. It wasn't like Sirius and all these networks, right? All black owned, black run, black DJs. They probably in St. Petersburg Beach, which is like, you know, very black neighborhood.
The best music.
So I go in and I go, can I speak to the program director? And they look at me, they go, who are you? I came up with a name right there. I said, Johnny Snow. And they go,
Johnny Snow, that's awesome.
They go, what do you want? I said, I want to speak to the program director. I want to work here. The lady at the desk almost flipped out because you're talking 1977, 76 in Florida when they see a white guy walk into a black-owned radio station like, are you kidding? This guy comes out. Yeah. Listen, I still remember everybody's name, all the DJs. Jim Murray, he was the program director. He comes out, he goes, can I help you? I said, Jim, I just moved down here. And I got my FCC license. I want to work on the station. This guy, I think he took a double look like this. He goes, yeah. He goes, how about you go into the studio right now and do a demo?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Those days ain't happening today.
Yeah, no.
You're lucky you get past you're lucky you get into the office of Sirius or any of these radio stations, right?
Right.
Guy put me in a booth, made me do a demo, and I listened to Frankie Crocker on WBLS in New York for years, which was one of the premier black radio stations that did the best.
Right, yeah.
And I was always, you know, I'm a soul freak. What do you want me to tell you? I'm Italian. Italians are black people inside out. Yeah, we're gonna get screwed for this. I know it. Can't say that. We can't say that either anymore. You know, listen. Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but so I go in, I do the demo, I get a call the next morning. He goes, man, he goes, you want to do weekends? I said, yeah, okay. He goes, $25 a shift, 4-hour shifts. I said, no problem. $50 a weekend, 2 shows, I'm doing it. I'm only freaking 18, whatever. I go in there. Meanwhile, I was doing disco back in the 70s when disco was disco.
Right, yeah.
And I was getting the records from a New York, major New York retailer who had the ins with all the record companies. So we would get everything, Loretta Holloway and Teddy Penn, any song that came out, all the odd disco records from around the world came out there, Downstairs Records in New York. And I would bring them to Florida. This guy, the program director, he goes, where did you get these records? And they wouldn't get them for 4 or 5 months later because in those days, the distribution of the music was the radio stations that were in the cities, major cities, I don't know, and clubs, mostly clubs actually. And then they went to the radio station. So I'd bring them in because I was in the club seat.
Right.
I'd bring them into the radio station and you wouldn't believe the calls. They come in, you know, Johnny Snow, you know, and I had people come to meet me at the station, and when they saw I was white, they ran away. young people that will listen to me. He's a white guy. Okay, well, what do you want me to say? But anyway, so that was the start of my being in the business, and it did real well. And then I started doing concerts in Florida. I would get John Mayall, I would get Spirit, I would get Leslie West, I would get, you know, acts, because I was competing with big name promoters, okay?
Right.
We're talking about Beach Club Productions, we're talking Margie Sexton, we're talking John Stoll, Phantasma. I got a hell of a memory. The thing is, I started doing concerts, and I did real well down in Florida, and real well. I'm 19, 20 years old. I made $40,000. That's like real well.
Yeah.
Back in those days. So then my friend Susan, who passed too young, said she was living in Atlanta, and she says, come to Atlanta. So I go to Atlanta, hang out. She moves back to Florida. So I'm in Atlanta all alone, right? And I didn't know anyone, and my other buddy who moved to Florida with me, he went back to New York. And so I started I figured, let me promote jazz, because Atlanta in 1978 was still not big. It was still a small, big town kind of thing. It wasn't like it is today.
Like it is today, major city, yeah.
And it was predominantly black, as it has been. So I started bringing in jazz acts. I brought Stanley Turrentine, Ramsey Lewis, Woody Shaw, Eric Gale, a lot of great, if you know jazz, great artists. So I bring it into the Fox Theater, which is the most historical theater in the nation.
I love that theater. Yeah, it's still there. It's still great.
Kidding? The Fox in Atlanta. And my buddy, my old friend Alex Cooley was the big promoter there. He was the rock and roll promoter, Alex. So anyway, I go into the Fox Theater with these big acts. I lost every dime I had. Done. Bingo. Because in Atlanta, in those days, you had a limited black audience that would go out to concerts, and I got killed by big promoters who come in with Earth, Wind and Fire and the Funkadelics, and I'm promoting jazz. Today you could do jazz and do well, but back then I got killed. So I used to take the acts after the show, bring them to the Atlanta Federal Pen, okay? Penitentiaries, I walk in, they would search the whole band, they would search me, we'd get ripped apart. I did 4 shows at the Atlanta Federal Pen, okay, with jazz acts. I brought females to come in and sit behind the band and make
nice.
The inmates would go nuts, but anyway.
Is there good money doing that in the pens? Like
there's no money.
Oh, so you just did that because you had the acts. Hey, here's another performance.
That's right, because you'd fly these acts in, and then all of a sudden I'm saying, listen, I know you got paid, but I didn't make any money. Can you do me a favor?
Right.
Can you do a gig? And Maynard Jackson, who was the mayor at the time in Atlanta, gave me an office in the City Hall Annex building with Michael Lomax, and I was able to, they supported me, but we didn't make money.
Right.
So what happened was I bring the acts into the pen. Anyway, long story short, I got a nice award. I don't have it here. I packed it already. They gave me an award, Honorary Convict of the Year.
That's an awesome award to have.
The best one I ever got.
Honorary Convict. That's incredible. Yeah.
Because they loved it. There was nobody bringing shows and some pretty girls that would come in and just hang out, and so they got a chance to look at some women. They had a chance. And is this maybe now I'm gonna get sued for being sexist because I brought women to the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary back in 1978. Right? Hey. What happened after that is I started a company to manage, communications company, and manage. I represented anyone who would pay me. I had barbecue places, I had politicians, anyone. But I wrote a letter. One day I saw an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that Hank Aaron was accused of being a racist, or he was complaining about racism in baseball.
I feel like although I had not been through some of the things that Jackie had, nearly some of the things that he had been through, I thought that I was, and myself, along with some of the other black players, were also being tested. If we had failed, then some of the black players that is playing today would not be in the league.
I wrote a letter. I said, Hank, that's not right. You should not. I had a high-rise office, a 3-piece suit. And I wrote him a letter, and next thing I know, Hank calls on the phone and wants me to come meet him at the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, which is no longer there. The thing is, I managed Hank for 4 years, okay? And when I say I managed him, the first gig he gave me was to go up to New York, because Bowie Kuhn, who was the commissioner of baseball at the time, gave Pete Rose honorary Player of the Year for the 70s, and he gave Hank honorary Moment of the Decade.
A high drive into deep left center field. It is gone! Henry Aaron has eclipsed the mark set by Babe Ruth.
He thought he should have been honorary player, which I agree, because then Pete Rose got accused of gambling, bing, bang, boom.
Today on Sports Desk, Pete Rose is going to jail.
And, you know, but anyway, Hank didn't want to go up to Gallagher's Steakhouse in New York. He sent me. So I go up to Gallagher's Steakhouse in New York from Atlanta and refuse the award. And every sportscaster, every news person was there. They chased me down the block. Hank. I said, what do you want me to tell you? Hank refused the award. Next thing I know, I'm booking Hank on commercials.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Coach says the Colonel only uses fresh quality chicken. Coach wants us to eat right. He says Kentucky Fried Chicken's a great meal at a sensible price.
Smart coach. Smart enough to know what my boys like best.
Right on, Hank!
It's so good about a meal. So good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
We did Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. I marched with Colonel Sanders in Louisville. And here you go, you got a Yankee white boy from New York and a black man from Alabama marching with Colonel Sanders. Whoa! I wish I had video of that stuff, my friend.
I wish there was some. So is the actual Colonel Sanders?
Oh yeah, it was the real man.
Wow.
I got Hank an endorsement with Kentucky Fried Chicken. So they invited us to do a parade. And here I'm like, you know, I'm waiting for the KKK to come out. I mean, you know, what a day that was. Anyway, so I got him on, got him that, I got him a few commercials. And then the big thing with Hank that I wound up doing was to book him on Happy Days, okay? So I bring Hank out to Happy Days to do an episode, right? My first trip ever to Los Angeles. And here I am going to lunch with Mayor Tom Bradley, Henry Winkler, Director Jerry Paris, the rest of the gang. What a trip. I was like, this is my life. I want to be here.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome at that time, too. There was nothing bigger than Happy Days.
No,
I mean,
you're kidding? And
hanging out with the Fonz?
Let me think what year. I think it was 80, 81. I still have the episode signed by everyone, by the way. You know, I got more memorabilia than I know what to do with. No one wants to buy anything. I got stuff with Michael Jackson, Hank Aaron, you name it. But anyway, so that was a good thing, and we did well with Hank. And then I was doing music video stuff. I was distributing clips to nightclubs and installing music video in nightclubs back when it was hot, you know, in the early 80s. I was a consultant. I had the first music video chart ever in the nation, published in TV Guide, Rolling Stone magazine, and USA Today. We were consultants. It was only 3 companies that distributed the music clips to nightclubs and television stations because everyone wanted to get the clips in those days. Because the record companies were giving them out to promote the music, right?
Right.
But after a few years, record companies started seeing that we were making a few dollars distributing those clips, and the legal department got involved and said, "Hey, hold on a second there, buddy." All 3 of us, and I know all the other 2 people. But so I said, you know, I don't see much of a future in this. I opened an office in Beverly Hills because I had an office in Atlanta, and I started doing home video consulting for the companies that were putting out the long form, like movies, Lust in the Dust. We did Hank Williams Jr. aboard the USS Constellation in San Diego.
Radio station don't sign off with Dixie.
Where they put out the home video. Remember, the cassette was like an hour and a half where there was music in the, whether it was a continual music video or whether it was music in a movie.
These lips were made for selecting, these hips were made for connecting, these legs were made for wrapping around you so tight, only every night.
Anyway, that was good for a minute, and then I got back into the groove with management, and I managed this composer. And he said, I have a big house in San Francisco. You want to move up? I said, yeah, I'm tired of Hollywood. I get up to San Francisco. This guy already knows a ton of people. We're doing some dinner parties, hanging out, and having a good time. And all of a sudden I do a dinner party, and who's there but Bill Graham, Elliot Mintz, who was John Lennon and Yoko's closest advisor, and Don Johnson's sister. 3 people.
Wow.
4 people. George goes, can you cook some food? I said, yeah, no problem. The next thing I know, Bill Graham, who is one of the most famous concert promoters, the most famous concert promoters of our time, Fillmore East, Fillmore West, he says, why don't you come and do the BAMI Awards in a couple of weeks?
Hi, I'm Trish Robbins at the San Francisco Civic Auditorium. I'm here for the 1983 Bay Area Music Awards. The BAMIs, as they're affectionately called, besides being the rock and roll party of the year, is 1 in a million. It's a beauty.
I said, well, I'm not a caterer. I don't know how to cook for. He said, don't worry. He goes, Hard Rock Cafe will be there doing chili. Do one thing backstage. So I said, I'm not going to turn it down. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. It wasn't like there was money, because it was a benefit. So I said, okay. So I go to a friend's restaurant in San Francisco. I buy a new garbage can. I fill it up with pasta salad. I go over to the BAMIs. Who do I meet back there? Grateful Dead, Bob Weir, Jerry
Wow.
Croce, Carlos Santana, Huey Lewis, Chris Heisen, Buddy Miles. I'm like flipping out.
Don't ever do this again to me, Bill, please. Again, thanks a lot, everybody.
And they're eating my pasta salad.
That's gotta be crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. We made some special cookies for Buddy, by the way, but that's a whole nother chapter back in those days, you know.
So when you're as the chef and you walk out there and you see all these kind of legendary.
I was not a chef.
You're cooking for these people. You walk out there, you see them. Do you engage immediately in conversation? Do you stand out in that crowd?
Are you kidding? Out of control. I made friends with everybody. I mean, because I was in the business, so I knew a lot of people, and the conversation with me and these musicians was not just about food, it was about my years in the business and people I worked with too.
There you go. How about a mix with some panko and breadcrumbs?
Panko, yeah.
All right, panko and breadcrumbs is wonderful.
Just a little, Tim.
All right, now do you guys want to put some scallions in there? What do you think?
After the BAMI Awards, I made so much pasta salad that I had enough to bring on the streets of San Francisco on Market Street. I don't know if you know San Francisco. And I fed homeless people, right?
Wow,
at 12 midnight. Cool. Police came, put me in handcuffs, threw me in the back of a squad car, said, what are you doing? I said, I'm feeding people. I just finished the show. They go, you need a license to do this. So they made phone calls. I didn't get arrested, but they made phone calls. They let me off the hook. But the next day, this is how Johnny Ciao was born, interestingly enough. Because the next day, the famous columnist, Herb Caen, if anybody wants to Google him, you'll find out. It's C-A-E-N. He wrote me up and said, Johnny Ciao nearly arrested for feeding homeless people. He wrote a big article. And that launched me. That one blurb in his column launched me to where people wanted to book me and bring me in to do stuff.
Hey, Billy, what's going on out here?
That's him.
But then I get a call from an agent in Beverly Hills who books domestic help, and she goes, I have a gig for you. I don't know how she found it, you know, most of them are Hispanic. She goes, you want to work for this celebrity? I said, who is it? I never did this kind of work. I'm an entrepreneur, man. I'm a consultant. What do you mean I'm gonna cook for somebody? She goes, well, Michael Jackson just got off the bad tour and bang, bang, boom. He's not healthy. He's been eating the wrong foods, and so that's the next chapter. How much time we got?
Wow. Yes, but so you connected with Michael Jackson. So basically, one thing leads to the next,
right?
In your timeline. So you do the BAMI Awards. That leads to feeding the homeless. Feeding the homeless leads to the article in the paper. The article in the paper leads to the phone call from Michael Jackson's representative, the Spanish woman, right?
Right. The one about Michael Jackson, they were mostly domestic. You know, what celebrities do is they hire these domestic agencies, and this was Michael's agency.
Wow. So you must have been like, all right, this is crazy. I got, they want me to do stuff with Michael Jackson. I'm not really a chef. What do you do from there? Because you can't blow that opportunity. You don't want to pass that opportunity up, right?
Yeah, I'll go on the damn interview. I don't care if I get the job or not. I'm not looking for a job, but I'll go. So I went to the corporate office in Century, West LA, Century City, somewhere there. Michael wasn't there. Corporate people were there. And I'm thinking Michael had when Michael was way ahead of his game with the technology. He had a camera, he was watching me, and I did the interview, and next thing I know, I get a call about an hour later when I got back to my pad in LA, and they said, Michael wants to meet you tomorrow. Wow. So I know he must have been looking, because Michael is not going to listen to anybody. He's going to watch and see. He's going to tune in and like, let me see who this guy is. Who is this guy? He's a weird looking guy. Let me hire him.
I should ask you to sit down before I tell you what these are called.
Come on, tell me.
These are faggots. Gotta be kidding me.
But he had a Sikh Indian chef, right, that apparently wasn't doing the right thing. He was eating cheese, burritos, cheese, pizza, cheese, everything cheese. You can't live on cheese, man. Look at me, right? It's moderation with food, fish, soups, this, that.
Right.
I don't eat the same thing every day. I got friends who eat chicken every day. I got friends who eat burgers, steaks every day. You got to do moderation, man. I eat everything: rattlesnakes, steaks, chicken, soups, fish, everything. But I make it all, so I'm not eating out.
Right. Yeah. You're in control of everything you eat.
Yeah, and I don't cook with butter. Very, very little butter and very few recipes. But anyway, I said, okay, I'm going to go to Neverland. You think I'm not going to go to Neverland to visit Michael Jackson? I don't care if they get the gig or not. I went up, drove all the way to past Santa Barbara, up the 101 to the Cachuma Pass, into Los Olivos, bingo, wacko, got in there, the gate. Yo, who are you? Johnny CIAO. Okay, come on in. Go up. So Michael comes running through. I should have a mask here because he wore masks back then. He's wearing a mask, right? In the kitchen when he comes through and he's giggling and walks right past me.
The interview did not go any further.
Yeah. And I'm like, I thought this was an interview. What is going on? I didn't say nothing to him, but I'm thinking, I called corporate. I said, he just ran by me in a mask. And boy, Michael was ahead of his time wearing masks.
He was ahead of his time with the masks and stuff, for sure, and eccentric. And like, I assume you talk about his diet. He seems like, he's famous for, Neverland, never wanting to grow up. Did he eat like chicken fingers all the time and like, kid foods? Or
that's what he liked. So, so what I had to do was to get him back into poultry and fish, not meat. He didn't want meat.
One of the items I created were my famous fruit boats, which I originally invented for the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Kind of finger salad, which contains a Belgian endive leaf filled with a puree of fresh fruit, Italian gorgonzola cheese, and wasabi macadamia nuts from Hawaii.
I'm there making all this stuff for him, and I had 4 maids, and I had, we had, let me see, how many acres? 2,700 acres, something like that. First night I got there, I almost got run down by a wild pig, okay? What do I know about wild pigs? I'm from New York. The only pigs I used to see were hanging on Arthur Avenue where you bought them. Right. That's a cook. Anyway, that was my first night there. And
wow.
So it took him a while to kind of get used to having somebody like me, because he always had, you know, the chefs who are working in the States and all, they're just chefs. They're subservient. I did not tell Michael's people, this is, and I'm giving you a pretty insightful view of my life because I haven't done this, but I never told Michael's people who I really was. They didn't know my background. If they would have known my background in management, doing this, doing that, they never would have hired me as Michael's chef.
Right, yeah.
Never. But I said, hey, what the hell? Who cares? Hey, I'm a chef. Meanwhile, I'm a chef to who? My mother? My family?
And then what we're going to do is begin the Johnny Ciao corny shrimp ravioli. And what it's got is ginger, shallots, corn, carrots, bay shrimp, and tarragon. Nice, delicious. And then what I do at the end is I create a very intricate sauce, which we'll talk about later on.
But I got the gig. So I stayed with Michael. I started making him great food, some snacks, things he liked. But Michael wasn't the most interesting part of living at Neverland. What were his guests. He had Marlon Brando, Gregory Peck and his wife, Whitney Houston, Barry Gordy, Steve Wynn. I mean, the guests. So Michael, the guests would arrive and Michael would go, Johnny, he spent 2 seconds, 5 minutes with them, shaking their hands. He goes, Johnny, take care of them. So I put him in the guest house. So here I'm left with Marlon Brando for 2 weeks. Or Whitney Houston. I took Whitney horseback riding, right?
Wow, really?
That was more interesting to me than anything. Michael was great. Michael was fun.
I'm a nice person. I just took a shower and I washed my hair thoroughly.
Michael brought me to the circus. Michael always wanted me to come with him. We went jewelry shopping one day. He put on a wig, mustache, and we took the Toyota van down, incognito. And I'm driving, and Michael's putting his mustache. We're listening to the new Beatles catalog that he had just purchased, right? So I'm there playing Beatles song, driving, Michael putting a wig and a mustache on. So can you imagine this? Just picture this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So we're driving, we go down, and it took a long way. It took about, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes into Santa Barbara. We go into Santa Barbara, Michael's got a wad of cash, he wants to buy some jewelry. So we go to the jewelry store, we go in, and all of a sudden Michael's mustache moves down, right, to disguise that mustache. All of a sudden I see SWAT team, cops everywhere behind us because the lady behind the counter saw the mustache go down, looking at a guy like me, and Michael Jackson pushed the button, the cops are there with the SWAT team.
Was detained in a jewelry store for being a suspicious character. He told them who he was. They didn't believe him because he didn't look anything like a rock idol.
I pulled Michael's mustache off, I pulled his freaking wig off, I said, Michael, it's Michael Jackson. Hey, it's
He's not in disguise to rob the place, right, yeah.
Before we get shot, it's Michael Jackson. And, it got cool. I think it was in the LA newspaper that day, but whatever.
Damn.
I said, why are you disguising yourself? He said, I'm Michael Jackson. I said, yeah, you're Michael Jackson. He said, really, I am. He said, see, I have false teeth. So he pulled his teeth down. He says, and I have a wig on. He pulled his hair up, and I saw his natural hair, and that little string that comes before it. And I knew then that was him. Then I saw, oh, this is the Michael Jackson.
Come here, you pain in the neck. What do you want? You want to eat again? Oh my God. So one of the coolest experiences of hanging out at Neverland. What? Can I tell the story? Yeah, okay, then shut up. All right. One of the coolest experiences of hanging out at Neverland was, you remember? When Jane Goodall brought 2 baby chimpanzees to live with Michael.
Damn. So you were there?
Yeah, because Bubbles was getting violent.
They become very strong. It sort of almost happens overnight, and suddenly they pack on all this extra muscle, and they get a real attitude, and they're going to compete with you, and they become very hierarchical suddenly. You know, you can't have an adult chimp free to roam, not in a suburban environment, not in a family home. You just can't.
That's where you get when you get older, right? Shut up. So, what happens is when, you know, guys like this, I know you love me, leave me alone. When these chimpanzees get older,
right,
they get violent. But why? I treat you good. Look at his beautiful eyes. Look, how beautiful is he?
Very nice eyes, Troubles.
You like Don? Okay. So what happens is when they get older, you know, it's tough to keep them animals, any animal. But anyway, so Michael had given Bubbles away to do commercials. And then, so Jane Goodall brings these new chimpanzees, beautiful ones like this guy. But you know, this guy, they left with me. Because he loved me. I used to feed him Similac when he was a baby. You want Similac now? No, you eat bananas and other things now. What do you mean all right, take it easy. So, listen. So, what happened is when Michael got these new baby chimps, this is gonna kill a story. Because the trainer would come up there. His name was Bob Dunn, I forget. I don't want to drop names, but I forget a lot of these names. But anyway, he would come up and he'd spend the day, right, with these new chimpies. They were your uncles and aunts. You're too young. and then he'd leave them at night, and then he'd say to me, "You got to give them a Similac at a certain hour." And I go, "Hey, what am I? What do I look like? An animal trainer? You want me to feed the chimpanzees Similac at 10 o'clock at night or whatever?"
Wow.
That's what I had to do.
Wow. So you had to take care of the two chimpanzees and feed them like bottles of Similac?
Yeah. Listen, you want to know a story? I went to buy so much Similac one day at a store. They go, "How many kids do you have?" I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Oh, and then the other thing, Michael goes to me one day. Remember what? No, you don't remember. You're too young. Okay, yeah, you're too young. When Michael said to me, "Johnny, go buy some clothes for the babies," right? I'm like, I went along with all this. I was like, you know, I'm a whack job myself. I went along with all this. Okay, I drove to Santa Barbara, went to a store where they sold expensive. I'm not talking Walmart here. I'm talking expensive kids' clothes.
Wow.
So I bought all these clothes for the two. They were two different sizes. That was your aunt and uncle, okay? Just listen, will you? Listen, Donnie's here. Listen, Donnie doesn't want you to talk. Be quiet. All right, so I buy clothes. I spend $40,000 on clothes.
Wow, $40,000 on clothes for the chimpanzees.
I almost bought the store out. The lady goes, but your kids are gonna grow out of these clothes soon. Why do you want to spend so much money? I wanted to say because they're very hairy, but I didn't. All of a sudden I hear helicopters flying in Neverland, right? You remember that? No, you were a baby. You don't remember that. No, you don't. Because it was your mother and father. So helicopters are flying. All of a sudden I get a phone call from corporate, right? They go, "Oh, okay. Johnny, we have the chief of police, Daryl Gates, and his squad flying in." I said, "You don't think I hear them?" The helicopter's flying right now. Did you hear him? You're a baby. You know, you kill me. You always think you know the Michael Jackson stories. but you were the baby. I know. Okay, just relax. So they come in. Here's the deal. You want to go sit down? Okay, goodbye.
Bye, Troubles.
See you, Troubles. Goodbye, Troubles. So they come flying in, right? And if you remember, Daryl Gates was the chief of police during the Rodney King era.
Oh yeah.
Okay, a lot of controversy about this guy, and all of a sudden, their corporate's calling me while I'm hearing whirly birds and telling me he's coming, and I'm like, oh boy, this is good. I can't wait for this one. Let me find some good stuff to put in this food. No. But anyway, I have a lot of respect for the police, but you know, whatever happened with the Rodney King era happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, they arrive, right? Here I am, and Daryl Gates, the police commissioner of Los Angeles, is flying in to see me, Johnny Ciao. No, he's coming to see Michael. Well, why is he coming to see Michael? And what I'm wondering is, why? Because you're police and you had a big controversy in LA with Rodney King. I don't know, whatever. I didn't get political. I don't get into any controversy. So
right.
He comes in and they're sitting at the table. There's like 4 other police officers, senior police officers from the Los Angeles County. And they're all sitting at this dining room table, right? And Michael and I had this joke we play with all his celebrity friends where Michael would say, Johnny, monkeys for dessert. All right, be quiet. It's not you. I'm not cooking you. I mean, he's flipping out over here. I mean, come on, baby. Come on. Relax. He's worried that I'm going to cook him. All right, relax. So Michael would say monkeys for dessert, which meant I would create a nice banana dessert, banana foster or whatever, banana flambe or banana crepes, and I would bring the 2 baby chimps out. One of them was a little older, but they were still baby. One of them would come in, both of them would come out, sit at the table calmly, and eat the dessert for the celebrity guests. Well, this is a good one, because I like this story to get out there, especially right now with the police thing going on.
Yeah.
Chimpanzees and other animals are very instinctive, and they have an incredible intuition vibe about you and everybody. They can sense us better than we can sense us. Well, when I put the 2 chimpanzees down at the table, which they normally well behave, would eat their dessert and entertain, and then, and the celebrity guests could come up, pet them, and put them in their arms. They didn't want that with the Daryl Gates and the rest of those police. They flipped out. They jumped up on the chandelier, swung, knocked stuff off the table. Meanwhile, one of Michael's advisors goes, "Get them monkeys." I said, "What do I look like? Do I look like a monkey handler?" I said, what do I know about taking crazy monkeys off the chandelier? That's what I had to do.
Wow, how'd you do that? How'd you get them down?
Well, because they kind of knew me a bit, and they were, and they sensed something not right with Daryl Gates. And I did too many years ago. We don't want to put that, I don't care. The point is, the guy was hardcore. If you're like this, a stiff cop, you think the chimpanzees don't get, they sense that.
Right, yeah.
An iguana can sense it. They can sense people's vibes. I've owned lots of all kinds of animals. They sense your vibe. And those monkeys must have sensed something, them chimps must have sensed something that drove them to jump up, knock stuff off, because they never did it before. But the point was, the funny part was when Michael's advisor, I don't want to mention his name, he's dead now, but I don't want to mention, he goes, "Get them monkeys." Hey, what do I look like? I'm from Brooklyn, man.
You gotta gather these monkeys up.
I've seen a lot of crazy bastards in Brooklyn, but What do you think I am? I'm gonna go shake some monkeys off the chandelier? I got them down all right, though. Well, boy.
What was the secret? How'd you get them down? What was the trick? Do you remember?
It was calmness. Calm. Mellow. Come on, Max. Alex. Come on, Alex. Alex. Your tone of your voice.
Right, yeah.
Energy. Calm. That's what'll work with animals. Not. You gotta calm. They sense it. I tried to pick up a copperhead the other day in front of my yard. Just to pick him up. He was about this big. He wasn't big, he was a baby. But I felt like, what's his name? From Australia there. Crocodile hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Steve. I said, I can do this. I want to pick this damn copperhead up by the tail. Meanwhile, if I got bit, I wouldn't be on the show today.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, so that was a good experience. Michael was the only person I ever lived with. I wasn't going to do that anymore. I had offers later on, by the way, a couple of years ago to do something with Will Smith. Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's not me. I just got an offer to go to Italy to do this incredible hotel. I'm not interested in that. You know, maybe when I was in my 20s and 30s, yeah, maybe. But that's not for me. I'm not going to go and be somebody's slave. You know, you need to respect me. If you want me in your house, number one, you better pay big money, which they're not going to pay the kind of money I'm looking for.
But you're an inspiring guy. From your whole life story is extremely inspiring. The way you've done things and worked through and took on these challenges and just the way you operate is very inspiring, my friend. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new show and reading the book.
Yeah, let's not forget, there's books out there, we haven't promoted, but JohnnyCiao.com, JOHNNYCIAO.com. And if you want to get books and some of my spices, oh man, I got some. And I had the vegetable bread out, years old oils, I had the first non-trans fat oils, but currently the barbecue blues is one of my big sellers. It's always a blast. It's good stuff on anything. Chicken, fish, soulful Thai. It's a good one for fish. It's a good one for vegetables, stir fry. And my funky wasabi. Oh yeah, this one's good. Because it's got that wasabi blowout flavor and a little burn, but it's not like eating real wasabi, right?
Right.
You get those at Ciao Spices, CIAO Spices.com. And people check it out and see, I mean, if you tell me you actually found out about these on Don's show, I'll send you a free cookbook on top of it.
Wow. Yes. Everybody go take advantage of that opportunity and that offer. I'm definitely want to get some of those spices. Those look good. And did Michael Jackson ever have any of those spices by any chance?
Well, it's funny you say that. I created my spice blend, and I have 6 other ones. I created them while living there because I was bored out of my mind most of the time. He used to leave. I'd be sitting there, and Michael used to want to play all this Disney music, right, when guests were there. So when he left, I'm putting Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, New Riders of the Purple Sage, Janis Joplin. I'm putting that music on, and he had speakers going through the immediate 30 acres. So when he left, I was jamming out there, man. I was having a good time.
I would love to see you rocking out inside the Neverland Ranch. And just,
Oh, yeah, baby. But then, the disappointing part of it all is that we didn't have these things in 88, 89, right?
Right, yeah.
So, what do I do? I mean, I took a couple of Polaroids of the monkeys, but I never asked Michael for a photo. Alex and Max. What do you want? Oh, yeah, You know, there's plenty of photos of you. Well, he just got to get the attention. He wants it. What do you mean? You want to be on camera? Hey, it's my show. I'm doing it with Don. Okay, you want to say goodbye to Don? Okay?
All right, Troubles.
All right. Come on, say goodbye.